stories. So permit me to begin today's show from Nigeria's most influential newspaper, the Leadership newspaper. Follow me the headline on Nigerian newspaper. Leadership this morning says 2023 presidency in supremacy contest for Kano, Atiku, Tinubu go dirty. You can see the full story on page 4. Heading down there, the first bullet says, I won't be a part-time president hibernating in Dubai, always APC flag bearer. Next one says, empty Kano Street signpost, your defeat, ex-VP fires back. We own Kano, you are just fighting in vain. NNPP, there's APC, PDP. And the very last bullet on the leadership this morning says, Atiku's picture missing on Rivers PDP branded vehicles. That is what we'll be having on the leadership this morning. But you can by yourself hop onto our website www.leadership.ng so as to read these stories. Moving on to the next, Nigerian Daily will be taking National Economy, which is the sister publication to Leadership newspaper. Headline says 8 months to go. Fuel subsidy. Delima poses more headaches for Nigerians' weak economy. 6 trillion naira projected early spend on fuel subsidy remains big concern. That is what we have on national economy this morning. We will head briskly on to the next Nigerian Daily. And with me here in the studio, we have THISDAY. And on this day, the list story says, U.S. Embassy alerts on terror attacks in Abuja, reduces services, UK, others follow. At the first bullet says, military stands ready. Next one says, schools take precautionary measures, move classes online. And the last bullet says, DSS seals for camp, says populace should remain alert. That is what we have on this day. Let's move briskly on to the next Nigerian Daily. And on my list, we have The Nation. This story on The Nation says, security alert in Abuja to forestall attack by bandits. The first bullet says, US, UK issue travel advice. Next one says, no cause for alarm, says DHQ. That is what we have on The Nation for you this morning. Let's head briskly onto The Guardian. And that concludes the stories this morning. The Guardian, the lead story says, cholera cases, death surge amid nationwide flooding. First bullet on The Guardian says, NCDC confirms 10,745 cases, 256 deaths in 31 states. Next bullet says, reports 42% increase in September cases compared with August. Next one says, UNICEF, more than 1.5 million children at risk. Next bullet says, Nigeria at extreme high risk of climate change impacts, ranked second out of 163 countries. Next one said, WHO forced to ration vaccine as cholera cases surge worldwide. And the very last bullet says, flooding, terrorism related activities. I take that again, flooding, terrorism related activities, civil unrest, lack of proper environmental sanitation, others blamed for increase. Thank you, viewers, for joining us for the first part of the show. We crave your indulgence to stay put for the second part of the show. My name is Tion Joseph, and I'll be back your way 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Please stay tuned.
sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
The week of October. My name is Winifred Weber and you're still on to Inside Nigeria History on Leadership Television. With me in the studio is a public affairs analyst, Agaba Recent. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure, and thank you very much for getting the name right. People always mess it up.
Viewers, we have 4 papers and many for you this morning, talking of Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership, The Nation, The Guardian, THISDAY, and of course, our sister publication, National Economy. We are flagging up as usual with leadership. Leadership says 2023 presidency in supremacy contest for Kano, Atiku Tinubu go dirty. 2023 presidency in supremacy contest for Kano, Atiku Tinubu go dirty. The story is on page 4. And the writer is, I won't be a part-time president hibernating in Dubai always. APC flag bearer. Empty Kano streets signpost your defeat. SVP fires back. We own Kano. You are just fighting in vain. NNPP tells APC PDP. Atiku's picture missing on Rivers PDP branded vehicles. This is a portfolio of stories today on Leadership newspaper. 2023 presidency in supremacy contest for Kano, Atiku Tinubu go dirty. Agaba, this is what we are expecting. You know that during campaigns, when candidates, unsheath their swords and what have not. It has started. So
Exactly.
What do you have to say?
I think that 2023 is going to be a very interesting year. For some main reasons, I will point a few. This is the first time we're having at least 3 very strong political parties
Yes.
at the presidential level.
Parties
And if
or
we add
contestants,
exactly,
candidates.
like I want to say party because they are all carrying the flag of a party. Otherwise, in reality, they are just contestants. Anyway.
Actually, it used to be there are 2 main parties.
Yes.
APC and PDP. It's just the contestants that.
No, this time around we have the APC, we have the PDP, and then we have the Labour Party making waves also, and then we have the NMPP trailing them. So that makes it interesting. And another factor that I think is going to make the election very much interesting is awareness among the electorate.
Yes.
People are now more politically aware than they were in 1999, in 2003, 2007, and so on and so forth. And social media have come to play a very huge role in that awareness. And people are more responsible to their franchise now, as it were. So it's going to be a very interesting year. I expect this kind of contest, vocal contest among the contestants.
No, Kano, considering the votes, the massive votes that Kano comes out of Kano, Kano
Yes.
is like how do you call it, a Trump state, and now we're having three of them slugging it out, talking about APC's candidate Tinubu,
Yes.
Atiku's PDP, and
Yes.
of course NNPP,
Yes.
Kokonso, because Kokonso has a large followership in that same panel. So what will you deduce from this?
Basically, I think that one thing I have been thinking inside of me
Mm.
is that the 2023 election may not give us a clear-cut winner.
Yeah, many people are
It may
actually
not
trying
give
to
us a
say,
clear-cut winner because we have more independent-minded people now. Unlike before, where it used to be like a head followership.
yes,
Oh, I'm Agaba Wilson, everybody likes me, and I say, let's go this way, and everybody follows me. People are now becoming more aware that, well, this man is just using us to achieve his own goal. What about me? Such questions are being asked even at levels that you wouldn't think it could be asked before. So, having that at the back of your mind, you'll be able to tell that the Kano vote is not going to be lump sum to anybody.
yes,
It's not likely going to be lump sum. People may have a higher margin,
yes.
all right, because as you can see,
People
it
are
used to be,
talking candidates, not
yes,
necessarily
people
party.
have, exactly. It used to be a combo of the Kwankwaso, the Ganduje, and co that make it happen.
Yes,
But now they are in different parties,
parties, yes.
running different races. So basically, everybody is going to cut his own chunk. You will not write off Atiku in Kano. He's going to get his own. You can't write off Kwankwaso. He's going to get his own. And then Ganduje is behind Tinubu. So they are definitely going to get their own vote. So the Kano vote may not be a lump sum to
For any
anybody.
person.
Yes.
Now, what about the other one, the fourth way or third way, Peter Obi, talking about this kind of votes?
Well, Peter Obi, I will tell you what I think about Peter Obi. The popularity of Peter Obi's candidacy is not so much about his person. It's more or less about a revolt against the decision of the APC and the PDP by certain people who feel they are not at home with the decision of the party in terms of the candidates they presented. So these disgruntled people want to get back at their own party, and by so doing, they look for the next best thing. All right. So based on that, you may not be able to predict exactly what is going to happen about the Labour Party. They might
Many
spring
also-
surprises in some states.
Many also say it as that the youth, who incidentally constitute the majority of Nigeria's population, wants to deviate from the old order to the new order. Do you see it like that?
Yeah, I think I see it like that. But what we now have to define clearly what is the old order and what is the new order. Now, if we mean that the new order are people who didn't participate in all the failures that have happened since 1999, then Peter Obi definitely won't be a new order because he was a governor at some point,
Yes,
two-term governor. So he's part of the old order. All right. So I won't say is a new order, old order thing, but I think is we want something. This is what the youth think is best out of all the options that we have for now. So maybe that is why they are going for him, and it might work for him if he really knows what he's doing. He has some factors going for him that he can ride on, but it depends on how he plays his card. If he doesn't play them well, then he's not going to go anywhere. But if he plays them well, we might find ourselves in an awkward situation in the 2023 election. Not that he might have a straight win, but we can see ourselves in a situation where we have to do a rerun.
Okay. Now, going back to leadership again, let's see the last bullet on the leading story. It says that Atiku's name is missing from the branded vehicles in Rivers State. See, Atiku's picture missing on Rivers PDP branded vehicles. To speak on this, what is happening? Why has PDP not been able to put his house in order?
Yeah, the thing is, if Atiku's picture is missing on the branded vehicle in Rivers State, we want to ask who sponsored the vehicles. If it comes from the person who me and you know, then definitely you don't expect Atiku's picture to be on it. All right. And I think the Wike issue for the PDP is more or less a Trojan horse. Uh, I don't think they have any way out of it that will not skate them. However you do it, the PDP is already divided.
Yes.
And the issue have dragged for so long
So long.
that no matter the settlement now, I think it might be too late.
Mm.
Some things would have been become too difficult to undo. Some utterances have been made, some misgivings are here and there. So these are issues that I think would have been addressed properly at the early stage. I don't want to dabble so much into certain level of that politics, but I have my misgiving about how the current chairman of the party uh, carried himself after the primary election, because most of the issues they are having today stem from that issue. Him coming out to say Tamboa was the hero of the day and all of that, in issues that he otherwise ought to have been seen as neutral. He showed his hand as if he was supporting somebody. And of course, the losing side were aggrieved. And then a lot of other issues start coming up. I don't even think that if we remove your chair today now, it's going to calm Weekend's nerves. He might go for other things. And so basically, I think that
They said there were so many issues involved, but chiefly among these is the removal of the IU. That is by Wiki.
Yeah, if you remove IU, for instance, there may be a lot of things that needs to be done before you can satisfy what Wike is looking for. You may have to reorganize the party's constitution, because if you remove IU, the deputy from North is supposed to take over. So except you are going to tell IU to resign, the deputy from North to resign, and all other, so that a southern person can come in. And again, from my own perspective, I don't think that politics should be in the way that it's being played. Recall that there was an Uche Secondus who was the chairman of the party. And it is in the open that Wike played a very huge role in removing him and bringing Ayu to power. At that point in time, he was clearing the way for himself to become the party's flag bearer. All right? But then once he failed at the primary, he is trying to go and roll it back. Certain things are not that easily undone. So he was instrumental to bringing this man. So if you ask me, I would have said he should calm down, settle with his party, ask for what he wants, and then work with them.
Thank you so much. From leadership newspaper, we are moving on to the other papers we have on our menu, talking about security issues, and that is in this day of today and the nation. Starting with this day, it says U.S. Embassy alerts on terror attacks in Abuja, reduces services, UK orders follow. U.S. Embassy alerts on terror attacks in Abuja, reduces services, UK orders follow. Military stands ready, schools take precautionary measures, move classes online. DSS sues for calm, says populace should remain alert. Let's go to Nation. This is the same security story on the cover of Nation newspaper. Let's see how Nation couch it. Security alert in Abuja to forestall attack by bandits. Security alert in Abuja to forestall attack by bandits. US UK issue travel advice. No cause for alarm, says defense headquarters. The story that has been trending since yesterday night when the US alert came on.
Yeah. I saw somebody forwarded the message to me on WhatsApp, and I saw it. It's well, it's a good thing that this is not a bomb going off that we are hearing. It's rather an alert. And on my way here, I was listening to a radio program, and the resource person was asking the question as to why we were not informed by our own security agencies, whereas the foreign embassies are informing their own people. Is it that our authorities are not privy to this information, or they just didn't want to? Well, there are several sides to this issue. Uh, you want to consider how does the government want to play this out. If you throw this information out there, how does it help you cope the situation? The security alert, be watchful, and all of that. People panic, and then it can make the situation even more difficult for you. But again, what if you don't tell people and they are carefree and then something happens? All right, so it's always a dilemma. But in any case, the security advice, travel advice, and all of that issued by these embassies have also brought it back to the fore. So it does, to some extent, the relationship and the level of communication and collaboration between our government and these other governments. Because I think that these embassies are aware that putting this information out to their own citizens will also make it available to Nigerians. And I think that they would have considered what would be the implication for the Nigerian Security Agency in managing this situation, and what will be the implication for us as a people and our citizens. And they chose their own interests over ours. So this only calls for our leadership at the top to up their game, do better next time, so that a stranger in your house doesn't have to warn their people about an impending danger. That's the way I see it.
Yes, but in any case, though security says they are alert, they are on top of the situation in the market, it hasn't helped to calm framework because we still see that there are so many security breaches that's all over the country, talking about the assassination attempt made on Apostle Suleiman, and it was even in the evening. I read the time, it was at 6 a.m., which was still quite early by all accounts. And in Abuja, we are hearing cases of kidnap being carried out right in the federal capital territory. Is there anything our security should do that they haven't done differently, that they should do differently?
You see, this administration, we must give it to the president. He has made effort to equip the security agencies to do what they are supposed to do. But even at that, it's not enough. This is something that we ought to have been doing over time, investing in the security architecture and the system and the personnel and their equipment and the information gathering mechanism for them. And that is why Boko Haram dealt a very heavy blow on us and continued to hold us by the jugular for a long time. The banditry came in and all of that. Basically, it is not easy to tell a Nigerian calm down after this type of alert, given where we are coming from since 2011 to date. It is not easy to tell a Nigerian, yeah, go and sleep after reading this type of alert. It's not going to happen. But I think that what the government should also try to invest in is interfacing with the populace. We need a national reorientation about everything we do. Security is not the business of the government alone, in quote. And I say government in quote because we see the people holding offices as the government, whereas we are the government. So we should come to a place where there is a mechanism that allows you as a citizen to see something and say something. And where the person to whom you say something is duty bound to do something about it. And where if he does not do something about it, something happens to him. Therefore, there is a holistic, coordinated process of solving security issues. But most times, because you don't know before they even conceptualize these issues. So we don't give them credit for that. We only blame them for the one they fail at. So we must give them kudos. They are trying.
It's quite much anyway.
Yeah.
But Agaba, I want to take you down memory lane, starting from since 1991. Discover that the security issues in Nigeria has rather grow worse by the day. What is responsible? And this is given the fact that the budget for defense is always highest in everybody, especially in these years. So what is happening? Why is it that we're not able to contain security issues until now?
Now, for us to look at why the issue of security is increasing, we have to look at it from a holistic point of view. First of all, we must look at issues of corruption, where people in different positions turn blind eye to certain things that they ought to have questioned. And then we must talk about issues of unemployment, which sort of create idle minds available for these bad people to recruit. Then we must talk about the attitude of the leadership of the country. How do we handle the ills of the society? Do we display sincerity of purpose? Or do the populace think that we are scamming them? And if that is what is happening, the society will degenerate gradually to a point where we live like the primitive animals, survivor of the fittest, where people are not punished for evil deeds. Other people look at it and say, well, I can do this too. Or where you seem to be rewarding evil. People who are known for committing certain crimes have not been tried, have not been killed, but they are rather elevated. This kind of policy will continue to grow these issues. Look at our borders. How well are our borders policed? What about data on the citizens? Can we actually verify that a particular individual is a true citizen of Nigeria? We have been doing NIN for years. It didn't work. We do national ID card. We started in 1999, 2000, 2001, thereabout. I did the first one. It didn't go anywhere. We have to start NIN again. We keep doing a lot of things. Our data are not even synchronized. So look at our immigration. I had a story one time that is not, it's not confirmed, but somebody told me that some foreign citizens came to Nigeria, spent 3 months, and by the time they were going, they had Nigerian passport.
Yes, I also heard the same thing too.
I mean, this is something you can't get in other countries, even some very small countries.
I heard the same thing too.
How is that possible?
Immigration was working with the night to ensure that they provide them with.
Yes. So will the immigration of another country do that? You don't know the implication of that to your country.
And that they were directed to.
So at the end of the day, everybody is leaving the responsibility of taking care of the country to someone else. And the job left for somebody else is always done by nobody. So in your own seat, what are you doing to safeguard Nigeria? Do we even know the implication of what our actions and inactions have on our own life and that of our relatives and friends? By the time you allow somebody to come in undocumented, you don't know what the person plans to do. Other countries, they document. Even the undocumented one has some documentation so that you can always trace them, traceability. So we need to, if we don't pull these issues apart and look at them component by component and start making a holistic effort to fix them, we are going to continue to be like this for a long time. We need to man our border. We need to become patriotic citizens. We need to take our job seriously, because even if you are a traffic officer, you have a job to do, and that job integrates to the overall security and prosperity of the country. As a teacher, you have a job to do to give the right orientation to the child. If you don't do that, the child is going to grow up and learn things that you cannot control. And that child is going to let those things that he or she has learned to direct their life, which might have a negative impact on both them and you in the future. So whatever office you find yourself, You need to take it as your own leadership, like you're the president of the country in that office. Do what you expect the president to do. Do what you want to see. You are the Nigeria that people see. So if somebody comes to Nigeria and lives here and say, "Oh, Nigerians are very dishonest people," is it that he met with our flag and our flag lied to him, or he met with our land and the land lied to him? It's probably because he met somebody. So the question we should always ask ourselves is, as a Nigerian, if a foreigner meets you, what will the person testify about Nigerians? So we need to bring it all together. Sit down, reassess the situation. It's not going to be something that we can do in 24 hours. It's not going to be a year's work. It could take us 20, 30, 50 years. But they say there's a popular adage that says that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. We can still start now. Start with sincerity of purpose. How did we get here? How can we pause it so that we don't degenerate further? Then how do we start improving from there to where we need to be and start being proactive? Because as it is now, we are very deep. We are still falling. So we need to get to a point where we can stop that and then start improving.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, we are going on a break right now. When we come back, we'll be discussing other papers we have. Many. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, this is Inside Nigeria Regional and Leadership Television. With me in the studio is Agaba Wilson. He's a public affairs analyst. It's a pleasure to have you on today's program. My name is Winifred. Before we leave here today, we are looking at the last paper we have on our menu, and that is our sister publication, National Economy. National economy, 8 months to go. That is 8 months to go for this present administration. Fuel subsidy dilemma poses more headaches for Nigeria's weak economy. 8 months to go. Fuel subsidy dilemma poses more headaches for Nigeria's weak economy. 6 trillion naira projected yearly spent on fuel subsidy remains big concern. 96 trillion naira projected yearly spent on fuel subsidy remains big concern. Agaba, 8 months to go. Fuel subsidy dilemma poses more headaches for Nigeria's weak economy. The queue is back in the filling station since last week.
They told us it's flood in Lokoja.
Since last 2 weeks. Has the flood not receded?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been to Lokoja. But let me tell you something.
You sincerely had to struggle. I think last week I had to buy black market. The next day queued, it was terrible.
I have tried not to join the queue for some time now. I've been buying black market, but I fear for my engine. So on Thursday last week, I was returning from the office and I saw that there was a short queue around my area. People were just rushing in, so I joined them. That was around 4:30. I stayed there till about 9:30 in the night before I got fuel. And by the time I got home, I came down with cold and catarrh. And in fact, this is the first day I'm stepping out of the house since that time. So I can tell you that I've been through it and I know what it feels like. But the thing is, the fuel subsidy has always been a bone in our neck.
Yes.
Something we cannot swallow and we cannot spit out. We can't spit it out because we are practicing democracy, and every 4 years we need the masses to vote for us.
Yes.
And we have not been able to make the masses understand that this subsidy is actually affecting them negatively. Because masses see these things as, oh, this is the only thing we benefit from the government. But in truth, who are the people that benefit from fuel subsidy?
But we couldn't have been paying this fuel subsidy if our refineries were working
Exactly.
at full capacity. So what prevents the government from building? Because before the manifesto of APC, before they came to government, about 7 years and 4 months, but 7 years and 4 months, they told us that
They will build a refinery
every year. Yes, that was it.
Well, I will tell you something. Number one.
Because our refineries will be working full throttle. There will be no need for
Number
subsidy.
one, when you are on the outside,
It's
easy to see. When you go inside and you see the reality, it's another thing. Then, number two, it is not feasible to build a refinery every year. Even the modular refineries that they are building, you can see how long it is taking. Now take another sample of Dangote's refinery, which is a private refinery and that does not have to undergo any bureaucracy. You see how long it has taken and how they have shifted the completion time from time to time. So it's not that simple. You can say a lot of things when you're on the outside. When you get in, you will now see that there's issue of revenue generation. There is issue of proper allocation. The issue of a lot of union agitating for more money. Everything is asking for money that you don't have. And then when you try to borrow, they say the debt is growing too high and all of that. So you have to balance all of these things, okay? And the reason we are not benefiting from the increase in oil price in the international market is because of the subsidy. Because what's supposed to accrue to us, we use it in subsidizing. And then corruption, which is the hydra-headed monster destroying every fabric of our country, is there waiting for us. We can't even ascertain how many liters of fuel we use in a day in this country. At some point, they say 40 million, some other time 50 million, some other time 66 million, and all of that. We can't account for it. Where that they are paying subsidies on, yes, where that they are paying subsidies on in Nigeria, wind up in other countries. So you can see how the issues are. So the bill keeps growing. So the best thing that we can do is to actually man up and spit it out. But I think that this administration was trying to be a bit clever about how to remove the subsidy. I think they wanted for the Dangote refinery to come up. They have also invested in what they call a true turnaround maintenance for the Port Harcourt refinery, and I think the Kaduna refinery also. They said there was a time they approved about $2 billion for that rehabilitation. It's supposed to take 18 months. The 18 months is still counting. I think it should be completed within this year or the first quarter of next year. So I think what they were trying to do was to allow the Dangote refinery come online, some of the modular refinery that they gave licenses to come online, then the national refinery come online. At least at that point, we know that we'll be able to refine for our local consumption. Then you can easily remove the subsidy. But certain things are delaying these refineries from coming online as planned. So it's difficult for them to remove it because they want to win the election.
That's so sad. So until that time comes, Nigerians will continue to wait it out.
Exactly.
Well, viewers, this is where we come to today's end of the program Inside Nigeria. With me in the studio has been the public affairs analyst at Gaba Wilson. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very
Look forward
much.
to knowing more of it.
Thank you very much.
So, viewers, my name is Willie Fadibubo. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio.